Yes. This one. This one. This one. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Wembley Stadium for this media conference to confirm the England squad for the forthcoming UEFA Euro 2024 qualifiers against Malta and North Macedonia. And as soon as you're ready, Rob Dorset, we'll start with Sky Sports News.
Hi Gareth, good to see you.
Hi, Rob.
First and foremost, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the logistics for this one, because it's an unusual season with the Winter World Cup, but your first England game in Malta comes 19 days after the end of the Premier League season. How difficult has that made your job, and how much has it influenced the decisions, the selections you've made?
Well, it hasn't influenced selections at all. It's, of course, a difficult season for the clubs, the players, for us. So we're always mindful of the welfare of the players. And the most difficult thing when you have a gap like that is to allow the players some time to recuperate, but also not decondition physically. So that's the balance we've got to try to find. And of course, they're, you know, like every other country, we've got important qualification matches on the road to Germany. So we've picked as strong a squad as we can, and we're looking forward to working with the players. And I think the players always enjoy coming back together. So there's always a lot of noise around this time of year, but the reality is everybody's got the same situation, and I think we'll manage it as well as we can.
Raheem Sterling's obviously going to be a headline omission from this squad. He missed the last one as well because of injury. What's the situation there?
Well, I spoke with him a week or so ago, a general catch-up. He's not happy physically with his condition, been carrying a hamstring problem, so he really wasn't in consideration. So we didn't get to the point of whether he should be in, whether he should be out. He doesn't think he's operating at the level that he needs, and so that was the conversation I had with him.
On a more positive note, Eberici Eze gets his place back in the squad in what is an incredibly competitive part of the pitch for this England squad. So why has he got the nod?
Well, we've liked him for a long time. He was very unfortunate. I think just before the Euros, we were going to call him into a prep camp to have a look at him, and he got a bad injury. The day we were going to, I remember talking to Roy Hodgson about him then, and Roy telling me he'd picked up an injury in training that day. So I think he has finished the season really strongly. He can play in a couple of positions across that attacking line. He's a goal threat. He's got nice ability and burst of speed to go past people and to take people out of the game with dribbling skills. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing him a bit closer, and everybody I speak to talks brilliantly about him as a person as well.
At centre-back, Lewis Dunk and Tyrone Mings come back in. In Dunk's case, it's 4 years since he last played for England, and there's been a clamour, I think, from more than just Brighton fans for him to come back in. Was it from your perspective just that those two have been playing so well for their clubs, impossible to ignore? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think both clubs have been excellent. I think Unai Emery's done a brilliant job at Aston Villa. I think they're like a really well-coached team. And the same with Brighton. Brighton's football this year has been exceptional. And Lewis Dunk and Levi Colwill have been a big part of that. So he's shown great composure with the ball. He's defending. He's asked to defend very often in one-against-one situations. And he thoroughly deserves his call.
I mentioned at the start this is a bit unusual because it's so far after the end of the Premier League season. You'll be aware that some commentators, maybe even some Premier League managers, are saying these are two games against, with all due respect, not the elite of world football. I'm sure you won't see it like that, and I'd expect you to say opposite. But there'll be some people saying you shouldn't pick your best players, give the younger players a chance, give the uncapped players a chance. That's not your way of thinking, is it?
Well, I don't think the rest of the world will be doing that this summer. And we've played North Macedonia twice at home and never beaten them. So I think we could easily fall into the trap. To be a top team, if we want to be European champions, we've got to nail the big games like we did in March. and you've got to make sure that you nail the more complicated ones because everybody has the view that you've just given. So I think it's a good test of commitment. It's a good test of togetherness. I think this group don't want to let each other down. We want to keep progressing as a team. We have 5 opportunities to work together before a European Championship, if we can qualify for the European Championship. And we played so well in March that we've got to back that up and make sure that we're not needing to go to North Macedonia at the end of this competition, requiring a result to get through. So I think this group of players have got enough humility to recognise that and to approach the task in the way we want them to.
Thanks.
Hi, Gareth. There's a number of young England players playing well in the Premier League. The under-21s have the Euros coming up. Was that a factor in them not being in this squad? Was it more beneficial for them to join up in a tournament situation?
Well, I don't think they're quite ready to be ahead of the players that we've picked, but there's a good chance that if we had problems, they would be the next ones in. Myself and Steve Holland will go to at least a part of that tournament to watch them. I think that's important. We've got some good players in there who we like. I think it's important they recognise that, well, they can see from the decisions we've made there's a pathway here for young players. We've always done that. And yeah, we're excited about some of those players as well, definitely.
Trent Alexander-Arnold's back in the England squad. A lot's been made about a newer midfield role that he's playing. You've played him in midfield against the game against Andorra. Did that come into the thinking about calling him back into the squad?
Well, he's a super footballer, and he's obviously playing in a slightly different role, which I think has invigorated him in the last few months. He has always, of course, been in advanced areas of the pitch with the ball. He's just a little bit more central now, so that's interesting for us, there's no question. Something I've talked with him about in the last couple of weeks, and yeah, again, we're looking forward to working with Trent, and we'll see how that all plays out.
And Ivan Toney, he got his debut in the last camp, and of course now he has his ban for breaching the FA's betting rules. I just wondered, have you spoken to him and what that means for his England future? Yeah,
I have spoken with him. I don't know if that's allowed, by the way, but if it isn't, then they can ban me and not add to his. Look, the ban is the ban. It is what it is. I think he recognised and accepted the punishment. What bothers me is we've got to look after people, and you know, he's injured at the moment. What does he do about getting fit? What does he do? How do we give him some structure over the next few months that he can develop himself or be a better person at the end of it, or have experiences that he might not experience? So I don't like the idea that we just leave somebody that they're not allowed to be a part of the football community. I don't think that's how we should work. I don't think that's how the best rehabilitation programs would work. But he knows that we picked him because we felt until there was a charge, he should be allowed to play. And when he comes back, if he plays well, then we'll pick him. So it won't have any bearing, but I think he'll have additional motivation through what he's experiencing, and I think he's a resilient guy with great character, and we're here to support him.
James.
Just following on from that, he obviously can't play football until January. That doesn't leave a lot of time for Euro 2024, but from the way you're talking, it sounds like he still has a chance to make your squad for that tournament.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, it's not ideal because he's going to miss a large chunk of the season, and you don't know after that sort of period out how physically he's going to adapt and how he's going to play. But it's possible for him. There would still be time, and he's really impressed us with the way he's played, and I like his personality, I like his belief and the way he goes about his job. So everything is still possible for him, I think.
Okay, we'll finish back with Rob, but before we do, any further questions in the room? No, finish you, Rob.
Gareth, it's slightly off the subject, but I think it's a really important subject. You'll have seen, like the rest of us, with what's happened in Spain with Vinicius Junior. Your England team came very close to walking off the pitch in Bulgaria when faced with that repeated horrific racist abuse from the stands. Do you think it now needs that, a major team, major players, to walk off when it happens to them or to their teammates to really bring this home and enforce change?
Well, I think we could debate about walking off or not. It's a disgusting situation. I think it's so bad that actually it looks like it is going to force change. So I'm hoping that there will be something positive to come from it, because I think it has taken a central story, not just in Spain, but across Europe and around the world, and that can only help to affect change. So if anybody suggests to me that we don't have a problem in society with racism, then there's another example of what we're dealing with, and more examples of people burying their heads in the sand, frankly. So I think he's dealt with it brilliantly. I think he's got the support of the football community. I know some of our players have publicly mentioned that. And we've been in a similar situation to how he's found himself. And I think, I thought Carlo Ancelotti also dealt with it really well. So there is a lot to take from it. It looks as though action has been taken overnight to deal with certain things. And hopefully it's a story that doesn't just disappear in 24, 48 hours without there being some significant change.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Okay, we'll conclude this section there and head through to the radio interviews. Thanks.
Thank you.